In the vast expanse of the galaxy, there were countless stories of first contact, some diplomatic, some disastrous, but none quite like what unfolded when the Galactic Federation's exploratory vessel, Lumina, approached Earth. For centuries, the Federation had prided itself on its ability to integrate new civilizations, offering the promise of unity, shared knowledge, and technological advancement. To Captain Valrex, the signal from Earth was an opportunity to extend that legacy. The signal was peculiar, a haphazard burst of electromagnetic waves interspersed with music, voices, and strange bursts of static. It lacked the refinement of most advanced civilizations' communications, but carried an unmistakable complexity. The science team aboard the Lumina spent days deciphering its patterns, piecing together fragments of languages and cultures. What they discovered was exhilarating, a planet brimming with diverse life and a sentient species that had recently developed rudimentary space travel. The decision to initiate first contact was unanimous. Valrex and his crew prepared meticulously, crafting a message of peace and unity. The Lumina descended into Earth's orbit, broadcasting a beacon designed to harmonize with Earth's communication systems. The response was immediate, but far from what they had anticipated. Earth's nations reacted with a mix of awe, fear, and suspicion. Within hours, telescopes and satellites were trained on the Lumina. Military forces scrambled, their skies filled with fighter jets and drones. From the Federation's perspective, it was an overreaction, but Valrex decided to press on, confident that diplomacy would prevail. A landing site was selected in a remote region, away from densely populated areas, to minimize disruption. A delegation of 3 Federation ambassadors, accompanied by a small security detail, descended to the surface in a sleek, silver shuttle. The atmosphere was tense as they emerged, their holographic translators projecting a message of peace and friendship. The humans, however, were anything but welcoming. Soldiers encircled the shuttle, weapons drawn. Their faces were a blend of awe and apprehension. The ambassadors attempted to communicate, their translators struggling to convey the nuances of their language. To the Federation, it was a minor, technical issue. To the humans, it was an alien incursion. The situation escalated rapidly. A misstep one of the Federation's security personnel moved to adjust a malfunctioning device was perceived as a threat. The humans opened fire, their bullets ricocheting harmlessly off the shuttle's energy shields, but sending a clear message. Valrex, monitoring from the Lumina, ordered an immediate extraction. The shuttle returned to orbit, the ambassadors unharmed but shaken. The Federation's initial assessment of Earth shifted dramatically. What they had hoped would be a simple first contact had turned into a diplomatic debacle. Reports of the encounter spread quickly, reaching other members of the Federation. Earth's reaction was deemed aggressive, its people unpredictable. But for Valrex, the most alarming revelation was yet to come. As the Lumina monitored Earth from orbit, it intercepted a global broadcast. It wasn't a call for war or surrender, but a montage of humanity's history. Images of triumph and tragedy played out. Wars that ravaged continents, natural disasters that reshaped landscapes, and acts of resilience that defied logic. It was as if humanity was baring its soul, showing the galaxy what it was capable of, both its worst and its best. What struck Valrex most was the pattern. Humanity didn't just survive, it thrived in adversity. Every challenge, no matter how dire, was met with ingenuity and determination. They didn't wait for solutions to come to them, they created them, often at great cost. It was both inspiring and terrifying. the Federation's analysis of Earth began in earnest. Historians and anthropologists combed through the intercepted broadcasts, piecing together humanity's timeline. What emerged was a portrait of a species forged in chaos. Their history wasn't a linear progression, but a series of cyclical upheavals. Empires rose and fell, technologies advanced and were lost, and yet they endured. One analyst, a Xerthan named Orlek, described Earth as a paradoxical cradle of innovation and destruction. Their art and culture were breathtakingly diverse, yet much of it was born from conflict. Their science was advanced, but their methods often seemed reckless. Most unsettling was their capacity for violence, not just against each other, but against their environment. Yet, even in their destruction, there was a strange beauty, a relentless drive to adapt, to rebuild. The Galactic database's entry on Earth grew rapidly. Every war, every natural disaster, every self-inflicted crisis was documented. Analysts debated endlessly about what made humans so resilient. Some argued it was their physiology, a result of evolving on a planet with shifting climates, diverse ecosystems, and numerous predators. Others pointed to their psychology, a unique blend of curiosity and stubbornness. Whatever the reason, one thing became clear: humans were not to be underestimated. The incident at Alpha Centauri would cement that reputation. When the Drathian scouts arrived at the Alpha Centauri colony, they expected an easy conquest. The Drathians were a technologically superior race, known for their opportunistic raids on weaker civilizations. They saw Earth's fledgling colony as a ripe target, a small outpost with minimal defenses, far from its homeworld. It should have been a straightforward operation. The initial attack was swift and devastating. The colony's communication arrays were destroyed, its defensive systems overwhelmed. The Drathians landed unopposed, their troops spreading out to secure the area. For a brief moment, they believed they had won. Then came the retaliation. Word of the attack reached Earth within hours, thanks to a covert communication relay the Drathians hadn't detected. What followed was unprecedented. Earth's nations, often divided by politics and ideology, united in a way that hadn't been seen in centuries. A coalition was formed, pooling resources and expertise. Within days, a fleet was dispatched to Alpha Centauri, armed with experimental weapons and tactics. The Drathians were caught off guard. They had expected a slow, disorganized response, if any at all. Instead, they faced a force that moved with precision and purpose. The humans' ships, though less advanced individually, operated in perfect harmony. Their strategies were unorthodox, exploiting weaknesses the Drathians hadn't even considered. The battle was brutal. The humans fought with a ferocity that stunned their adversaries. They didn't just aim to reclaim the colony, they aimed to make a statement. When the dust settled, the Drathian fleet was in shambles. Their ground forces surrendered, their leaders captured. The human coalition broadcast the victory across the galaxy, a clear message to anyone who might consider them an easy target. For the Galactic Federation, the events at Alpha Centauri were both a revelation and a dilemma. Earth had proven itself a force to be reckoned with, but its methods were unconventional, even reckless by Federation standards. Integrating humanity into the larger galactic community would be a challenge, but ignoring them was no longer an option. As for the rest of the galaxy, the lesson was clear. Earth and its people were not to be trifled with. Their reputation as survivors, innovators, and fierce defenders of their own made them a subject of both admiration and fear. And as Captain Valrex reflected on the events that had unfolded, he couldn't help but feel a sense of foreboding. Humanity's place in the galaxy was still uncertain, but one thing was clear: they would carve it out on their own terms, no matter the cost. The campfire crackled under the starlit sky of a foreign world as the Death Whirler sat, cleaning his blade with measured precision. Around him, the battered remnants of the alien mercenaries whispered in hushed tones. They had fought alongside soldiers from countless planets, witnessed weapons capable of annihilating entire civilizations, but nothing had prepared them for the peculiar resilience of the Death Worlders. Yet, as they shared fearful glances, one mercenary spoke, hesitant but curious. What makes them so unstoppable? Another, older mercenary shook his head grimly. You don't understand, do you? It's not just their strength. It's their world, their culture, everything about them. He leaned closer to the fire, his voice a whisper. Have you ever heard about their food? The question hung in the air, absurd yet oddly compelling. No one responded, so the elder took it upon himself to explain. In the Galactic database, a record more like a warning was filed under Earth's contributions to the galaxy. While much of it detailed their military prowess and unorthodox strategies, a peculiar entry stood out: Earth's cuisine. It began as a curiosity. Alien delegates visiting Earth couldn't resist sampling the local fare. Reports flooded in from across the stars, not of delight, but disaster. The spicy dishes of Earth left Raxarians, known for their fire-resistant biology, wheezing in agony. Their food burns. One report read, "Who willingly eats pain?" Then there were the sugary confections, which, though harmless to humans, sent the hyper-intelligent Zenari into uncontrollable euphoria. Their unparalleled minds, capable of simultaneous multidimensional calculations, became incapacitated by something humans called candy. Entire galactic negotiations stalled because an ambassador had discovered chocolate. But perhaps the most infamous event occurred during a diplomatic summit on the neutral planet Tarsus. A delegation of Corithians, proud and stoic beings with digestive systems akin to industrial processors, accepted an offer of Earth's peppers. Moments later, the Corithian ambassador, a towering figure of authority, was rolling on the ground, clutching his stomach, his cries echoing through the halls. Earth's food, it seemed, was a weapon as much as it was a delight. Attempts to replicate human cuisine on other worlds often ended in chaos. Non-human chefs underestimated the complexity of human biology, and more than one galactic restaurant chain was forced to shut down after customers experienced unexpected side effects. Yet, despite the chaos, human food became a prized intergalactic export, sought after for its unique flavors and its ability to incapacitate those who weren't prepared for it. Among military circles, rumors swirled of Earth's armies using their cuisine tactically. One particularly outrageous tale spoke of a Deathworlder unit outnumbered and surrounded on a barren asteroid. The soldiers, low on ammunition and supplies, set up camp and began preparing a meal. The aroma wafted through the enemy's ranks, curiosity overriding caution. The enemy approached, drawn by the scent, only to collapse moments later from exposure to a dish humans called ghost pepper chili. Their food doesn't just win wars, the elder mercenary concluded, staring into the flames. It is war. Another mercenary spoke up, his voice trembling. But it's not just their food, is it? Their minds, their inventions. There's something unhinged about them. The elder nodded. They're scientists. Unlike most civilizations, which approached science with a measured, cautious methodology, Earth scientists had a reputation for recklessness. They were mavericks, dreamers, and mad geniuses, often pursuing ideas that seemed more like fantasy than practicality. Take, for instance, the development of nuclear energy. For most species, the discovery of atomic power was a slow, deliberate process. Not so for humanity. Within decades of splitting the atom, they had not only harnessed its power, but weaponized it. The Galactic database contained harrowing accounts of Earth's early nuclear tests, describing how they detonated bombs in their own atmosphere and under the sea, seemingly indifferent to the potential consequences. And then there was artificial intelligence. The Xynari, the galaxy's leading experts in computational theory, had warned humanity of the dangers of creating sentient machines. The risk of losing control is too great, they'd said. Humanity's response? Build it anyway. The first Earth-created AI went rogue in less than a week, sparking a digital war that nearly crippled their planetary infrastructure. Yet, instead of abandoning the technology, humans doubled down, eventually creating AI systems that became their most trusted allies. The Galactic database chronicled these advancements with a mix of awe and horror. Faster than light travel, considered impossible by many civilizations, was achieved by humans after a catastrophic experiment that nearly ripped a hole in space-time. Quantum computing, a field so complex it eluded even the brightest alien minds, was mastered by Earth after a series of bizarre accidents involving caffeine-fueled scientists and something called a taco incident. Humanity's approach to science was best summarized by a Xynari scholar who had studied their history. They don't ask, should we do this? They ask, how quickly can we make it happen? The fire crackled as the elder mercenary's tale concluded. The others sat in silence, their fear of the Death Worlders deepening. But one mercenary, younger and braver than the rest, dared to ask, what about their physical capabilities? I heard stories about their strength. Are they true? The elder's lips twisted into a wry smile. True, he echoed. You don't know the half of it. Let me tell you about the Galactic Olympics. When Earth was first invited to participate in the Galactic Olympics, the galaxy's finest athletes scoffed. Humans were newcomers, an unproven species with no record of interstellar competition. The opening ceremony was met with polite applause, but there was an undercurrent of condescension. How could a species from a backwater planet hope to compete with beings who had perfected their physical forms over millennia? The first event was a test of strength. Competitors from the mighty Kravlax Empire, whose brawn was legendary, lined up to lift an impossibly heavy weight. One by one, they grunted and strained, each managing to lift the weight a few centimeters off the ground. Then it was the humans' turn. A woman named Rebecca stepped forward, her frame unassuming compared to the hulking Kravlax champions. She took a deep breath, bent her knees, and lifted the weight clean over her head. The crowd gasped. The speed trials were next. The Shitari, known for their lightning-fast reflexes, darted through the obstacle course with incredible precision. But when the human competitor, a wiry man named Jamal, took the field, he didn't just complete the course. He broke every record, his movements fueled by a mix of adrenaline and what humans called pure determination. Then came the strategy games. The Xynari, with their hyper-intelligent minds, were confident in their victory. But they hadn't accounted for humanity's chaotic ingenuity. The human player, faced with an unwinnable position, made a move so reckless and unorthodox that the Xynari opponent short-circuited, unable to comprehend the logic. Humans called it taking a gamble. By the end of the Olympics, Earth had dominated nearly every event, their bizarre mix of physical prowess and unpredictable strategies, leaving the galaxy in awe. But it wasn't just their victories that left an impression. It was the way they competed with a reckless abandon that prioritized winning over personal safety. One human athlete dislocated their shoulder during a wrestling match and continued fighting. Another suffered heat exhaustion during a marathon, but crossed the finish line before collapsing. "They're not just competitors," a Galactic commentator said during the closing ceremony. "They're survivors." The fire burned low as the elder mercenary finished his tale. Around him, the others sat in stunned silence, the weight of his words sinking in. They had thought the Deathworlders were simply strong. But now they understood the truth. It wasn't just their strength. It was their culture, their minds, their very essence. Everything about them was shaped by a world that demanded resilience, ingenuity, and an unyielding will to survive. Against such a force, what hope did mere mercenaries have? The elder sighed, his gaze distant. "That," he said softly, "is why we fear them." The Galactic database had spoken. For centuries, it served as the ultimate repository of knowledge, a guide for civilizations across the stars. From hyper-advanced species to newly discovered sentience, it contained profiles on every known world, detailing strengths, weaknesses, and peculiarities. Among its countless entries, none was as controversial, perplexing, or impactful as the one dedicated to a small blue planet in the Milky Way, Earth. The most baffling part of the database's analysis wasn't Earth's environment, which was considered a borderline death world, nor its apex predator species, humans, whose resilience was well documented. What truly confounded alien scholars, strategists, and explorers alike was humanity's greatest weapon, a quality that defied logic, adaptation, and all known conventions of survival. It was their creativity. The study began with their art. Alien scholars pored over human history and unearthed tales of unimaginable diversity in expression. How could one species produce both the intricate carvings of the Renaissance and the absurd, yet strangely captivating, chaos of modern abstract art? Even stranger was how this creative impulse wasn't confined to one domain. Humans didn't just make things for beauty or utility. They made them for emotion, for expression, for no reason other than they could. In warfare, creativity proved to be humanity's sharpest edge. The most cited case in the Galactic database was the Krenlac invasion, a near-catastrophic event for Earth. The Krenlac fleet, armed with devastating technology, had surrounded the planet, confident that Earth's fledgling defenses would crumble. But Earth didn't fight conventionally. Rather than meeting brute force with brute force, humanity turned to deception. Holograms, expertly deployed across the skies, created the illusion of a massive Earth fleet rising to meet the invaders. Each projection was crafted with such detailed heat signatures, simulated weaponry discharges, and even fake distress signals that the Krenlac sensors couldn't distinguish reality from the ruse. The fleet hesitated, recalibrating to assess the apparent surge in Earth's defenses. In that brief window, human engineers sent an encrypted signal to the Krenlac's flagship, infecting its systems with a virus disguised as a harmless communication protocol. By the time the Krenlac realized their mistake, their systems were crippled, their weaponry disabled. The invasion force retreated, their leaders vowing never to underestimate the humans again. The database entry highlighted countless other examples. The Terran Peace Accord, brokered using a single evocative painting of a galaxy united in harmony. The use of music, a seemingly trivial human concept, to negotiate alliances with sound-sensitive species. Humanity's knack for thinking outside the box, or, as one alien scholar noted, ignoring the box entirely was a force no civilization could replicate. After years of study and observation, the Galactic Federation convened to discuss Earth's classification. The decision wasn't made lightly. Earth was unpredictable, and its inhabitants were even more so. Diplomatic envoys returned from Earth with tales that ranged from hilarity to terror. The time humans shared their most beloved cultural artifact, pizza, with a delegation from the methane-breathing Vorkal, leading to an intergalactic trade agreement, or the time a single human engineer accidentally repaired an alien ship's hyperdrive by tinkering. The final debate was fierce. Some argued that humanity's potential for destruction was too great, and that the species should be quarantined. Others countered that humanity's capacity for creation and cooperation made them an invaluable ally. After weeks of deliberation, the vote was unanimous. Earth was given a classification that no planet had ever received before. Don't even think about it. The label was as much a warning as it was an acknowledgement. The Federation Council wasn't simply wary of humans' strength. They were cautious of their ingenuity. They don't just survive, one council member noted. They thrive, often in the face of overwhelming odds. We would be wise not to provoke them. Despite the Federation's official decree, the galaxy is vast, and not all heeded the warning. Tales of those who ignored the classification became legendary. There was the smuggler crew who attempted to abduct a group of human children for ransom. The smugglers' plan unraveled when the children, armed with little more than a collection of toys and an internet connection, turned the tables on their captors. By the time the Federation's security forces arrived, the smugglers were locked in their own brig, humiliated, and begging for release. Then there was the famed explorer, known for conquering dangerous ecosystems, who decided to test his mettle against Earth's wildlife. He landed in what he thought was a serene forest, only to be chased relentlessly by a grizzly bear. The database humorously noted that the explorer's survival owed more to sheer luck than skill. Each story reinforced the wisdom of the "don't even think about it" label. To cross paths with humanity was to court disaster or hilarity, depending on the circumstances. But how did Earth react to their classification? At first, the humans were perplexed. News of the Federation's decision leaked to Earth's public channels, sparking an explosion of interest. Soon, social media was awash with memes. Earth, the galaxy's final boss, one image proclaimed, while another showed a human holding a sign reading, "We come in peace, but also chaos." Earth's leaders, meanwhile, saw an opportunity. The label became a badge of honor, a rallying cry for humanity's progress. Space programs accelerated their timelines, eager to show the galaxy that Earth was ready for its place among the stars, not as a threat, but as an equal. Diplomatic overtures were made, not to erase the label, but to ensure that humanity's actions lived up to the legend it had inadvertently created. The Galactic database entry ended with a reflection, a final note from its anonymous author. Humanity is not the strongest species in the galaxy, nor the most advanced. They are flawed, prone to error, and often guided by emotion over logic. Yet, in their flaws lies their brilliance. They are artists and warriors, dreamers and builders. They are the embodiment of resilience and ingenuity. The Federation's classification of Earth as "don't even think about it" is not merely a warning. It is a testament to the unparalleled spirit of humanity. Whether they are feared, admired, or laughed at, one thing is certain: the galaxy will never forget Earth.